In a sentence that I thought I'd never type out, Army Hammer has a hot dog gun. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Pop Culture Cult. I'm Sean.
I'm Janice.
And this is our Oscars 2018 review.
Now I'm going to have that song stuck in my head. Hot dog. Army hot dogs.
We watched the Oscars. We actually were home, got to do the whole thing, and some of the red carpet stuff. It was really kind of cool. And we Stardusted all the major winners as they were being announced. So we were able to do that. So go download the app for free for Stardust, and then you can go see all those reviews that we were doing. Just follow us first, the Pop Culture Cult. But we wanted to go over all the winners, some of the losers, and some of the different things that happened. And I want to start with the whole field trip that they went on.
Right.
In the middle of the show. They went on this... So... Jimmy Kimmel wanted to thank the fans, right? The people who actually are the people who watch these movies and listen to the dribble drabble that they all spew out all the time about how, we're not going to be political. And then the whole fucking thing is political, right? So
it wasn't too bad.
It wasn't too bad. Some people complained about it, but I think they're just going to complain about it no matter what.
I thought it was, there was a couple jokes and stuff, but most of it stayed out of being political.
So they wanted to thank the fans, and so they showed this hidden camera from, they call it the TMC now. It's not, it's Chinese anymore. IMC or something like that. Anyways, across the street, and they were watching a preview of Wrinkle in Time, and they said, we're going to go, and Gal Gadot has already said that she's going to go with me, so anybody else want to go with us? And like Mark Hamill stood up, and Guillermo del Toro, and the guy from Hamilton, Manuel
Lynn
Casper Relly,
Lin-Manuel
Miranda, that's it, and Army Hammer, and like a bunch of people just got together, and then Guillermo, Jimmy Kimmel's like sidekick, whatever, had flags. He walked out across the street,
so they didn't get lost going across the street.
So they go to commercial, they come back, and they're all inside the lobby of the theater, and they all have baskets full of candy and stuff like that. And there's this shot where Jimmy is talking, and he turns to talk to Margot Robbie, and Gal Gadot is sitting over her shoulder, and she turns around, and Mark Hamill's like, "Hi, nice to meet you." Fucking Wonder Woman and Luke Skywalker are like
fangirling over
each other. And so Gal goes in with Jimmy and says hi to everybody, and she's like, "We wanted to thank you for coming to the movies and doing all this stuff, and I brought some friends," and they all freaking storm, and Miranda and Guillermo have this 6-foot sub, and Army Hammer's got a hot dog gun. Awesome. That's gonna be my highlight for years.
So we thought it was awesome. We thought it was hysterical.
Yeah.
The reviews were very mixed. I saw some were like, that was ridiculous, and then other people that kind of do the same thing we do were like, I thought that was awesome.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
It was a nice way for them to give an homage to us, the movie fans,
right,
and show that they actually care by we're not in the theater where they're at, but it's...
Although on Screen Junkies today they pointed out, and I was like, oh, this is so true. So historically, promoting movies during the Oscars has been considered kind of a thing you don't do, right? So but Disney, who owns ABC, which is the channel that the Oscars was on, did a teaser trailer for Mary Poppins,
right?
And then the movie that they crashed was A Wrinkle in Time, and then they
had the Star Wars crew out there,
and it was like, oh, way to promote your stuff without promoting your stuff.
Yes.
Disney is Amazon.
And Disney is the evil empire. They want to control everything.
So wait, which one's the light side and which one's the dark side? Is it Amazon or Disney?
It depends on which side of the argument you're on. Because right now, I like Disney. But if they start pulling some shenanigans, they're going to be the dark side. And Amazon
Amazon brings us shit, so
And they brought us a new freaking massage toy, and I love it already. Anyways, so that was the fun part of the Oscars, and then we'll talk about some of the other stuff that goes on. But the Best Picture winner, we get to the end of the night, and the Best Picture winner was Shape of Water.
Yep.
And we were super happy.
Yep.
We talked about it in the Oscar nominations reveal episode. They only did 9 this year instead of 10. They should have done 10.
Yeah.
They should have thrown Logan in there. But they have this, stupid algorithm thingy, whatever.
Yeah.
And there was no mix-up.
No.
No. They made a nice little
Guillermo
joke.
even checked to make sure that he had actually won.
They had Warren Beatty and Annette and
Faye
Dunaway come back out, and they did a really good job of making things like, it's so nice to be back.
Yeah.
Well, kind of making a joke of it. It was a nice way of kind of curtailing it, but it was super. I'm super happy for Guillermo, and him. His speech in that was, I went to a studio with some dolls and like storyboards,
and he had to try to sell this movie to the studio, like, okay, so there's a mute chick and a fish dude, and there's gonna be a sex scene, and
he just was. It was just really cool. Like, just keep banging the door down until you get in, and it was just a really. And he brought the whole entire cast, and everybody who was there as part of the production came up with him, and it was really cool to see like them sharing that moment. What are you looking up?
I have to look up this chick's name. Go ahead.
Okay. So Best Actress was given to Frances McDormand, and she was awesome in 3 Billboards. She's awesome anyways. Like, I could argue that she's probably better than Meryl Streep right now. Meryl kind of goes through the paces a little bit, and that was
Meryl Streep is very she is still old school Hollywood, right? And Frances McDormand, open. Frances McDormand is not.
She's kind of the transition. She's an older actress, but she's in that transition age, or that transition group to the younger generation.
Yeah, she's a child of the, I don't know, probably 70s, and isn't afraid to speak her mind. And I heard a couple people say that they were pretty sure she knew she was going to win, and so she used her time to making her speech to actually make a difference. And the fact that she had all the women who were nominated, regardless of what it was for, to stand up so that everybody could look around and see who they were. And she also, I did. Her, right at the end, she threw in, and you all need to make sure that you add inclusion writer, and walked off. And I was like, inclusion writer, like WRITER, or, and so I actually went and looked it up today to see what an inclusion writer was, which apparently everybody else did too, because a couple people talked about it. And what it means is, as a bigger star, you have the ability to kind of write things into your contract. You want me, okay, cool, but I want all green M&Ms, right? But an inclusion writer says that you can have me, but at least 50% of the cast and crew has to be minority, or women, or whatever. And that's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. They can, so as folks are, becoming bigger names, and they obviously, if you're nominated, and especially if you win, you now have the opportunity to say, I want more money, or I want this, or I want that. And
ask Patty Jenkins.
Patty
Jenkins did essentially that exact same thing, but from a different point of view of having a comic book movie, female-led, female-directed comic book movie.
Right.
She did all of that stuff.
Right,
So,
and so she got the opportunity to. Well, luckily they didn't sign her to more than a one
yeah.
movie deal, and
Yeah.
so she got that. But yeah, so now
That's awesome.
they can all go in and
I'm all over that. I'm
Yeah.
all over that. They're doing that, and as much as I liked Frances in Three Billboards, I really thought Sally Hawkins should have won that this year. She was mute for the whole freaking thing.
Yeah.
And just as emotional. We talked about it in the review. She was amazing. And
and Frances McDormand was gonna win. I mean, that was everybody. She was the one everybody picked.
She had been the favorite in all of the pre-Oscar award ceremonies.
But our
and stuff.
emotional pick
right
was Sally Hawkins.
Right.
Because she was mute and she still, I mean, we talked about it in our review. She still was able to emote without using words through the whole movie.
Yeah, it was really good.
That was awesome.
Best Supporting Actress went to Allison Janney for I, Tonya. We didn't see I, Tonya. It was the one. There's like I think three of the movies that were like big. The I, Tonya, Call Me by Your Name, and Mudbound.
No, the Thread.
Phantom Thread. Phantom Thread. Those are the three big ones.
Yeah.
Mudbound had gotten a couple of nominations, mostly for Mary J. Blige, but we hadn't seen that one either. But the big three were those three, and I don't know if I really care about seeing them. I'm interested with I, Tonya, because I remember when all that was going on.
Oh yeah.
And everything.
Yeah.
But it just everybody said her performance was amazing. They showed a little clip in the when they were announcing the winner, and she nailed it. I have no opinion either way. So.
Yeah, I would. In hindsight, I would like to see I, Tonya, and the more stuff I heard, I think I would like to see Lady Bird. Because I just saw a lot of stuff today that I was like, oh, this seems interesting. I don't know if you'll care, but
it's more of a mom's daughters kind of thing. So I'm not saying that it's just not one of the things that
You're
usually
neither a mom nor a daughter,
and usually those aren't my kind of movies. So best actor, Gary Oldman finally wins a freaking Oscar for wearing makeup and looking like Winston Churchill
and acting like Winston Churchill. I mean,
he was, of all the best actor nominations this year, he was the best person we've seen. Like, the Academy in the past has always drifted towards people who transform themselves, especially in the leading actor category.
Yeah.
And he transformed himself into, he was Winston Churchill.
Yeah.
And
I again, my emotional pick would have been Daniel Kaluuya for Get Out. I mean, he, that scene that they show all the time of him being hypnotized, and he's just bawling.
Yeah.
I mean, he's crying because he can't stop it, and that, you really, I thought he did an awesome
He was
job,
awesome.
This was kind of a lifetime achievement.
Normally, I would say yes to that, but he was so good in that role.
He was very good.
There's been some times when they've given it as a lifetime achievement award, and there's been better performances in that season, but this one was Gary Oldman, Daniel Kaluuya were the two that were really the ones that stood out to us.
And that's the problem you run into when you don't give it to people earlier when they should have gotten it.
Right.
And so then
the Academy's
maybe if Gary Oldman had gotten it, several years ago for something else, and I can't think of off the top of my head what he...
Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy.
Soldier Spy. So then they feel, I don't know, like they have to give it to him, where they could have possibly given it to somebody else.
But we're in that transition period with the old Academy voters and the new Academy voters, right? So the old Academy of voters we'll get them later, or we'll make sure to take care of the older group and whatever, and then the younger.
And then you fall into that. Well, we didn't give it to him 2 years ago, so now we got to give it to him now, even though there's somebody who had a really
obviously
good,
better and stuff.
And somebody was saying a couple weeks ago that they knew people that were on the voting thing, and they weren't even watching Get Out.
Yeah, yeah. Like
So
it was weird that the group of they weren't even like giving it a shot
no,
because it came out in like February, right?
and it was a horror movie.
And it was a horror movie, right?
I'm not gonna watch
And
this.
that's but it's not. I don't do horror movies. It's a horror movie, but it's not like a
It's
scary, bloody kind of.
thriller,
Yeah.
psychological thriller horror movie.
So best supporting actor went to Sam Rockwell from Three Billboards. That's yes,
Absolutely.
yes. He went from someone you knew to someone you despised to someone you felt for to someone you wanted on your side.
Yeah.
In the course of that, it was a 3 hours and 20-minute movie or whatever. In that whole course of that movie, he went every direction with that character.
Yeah.
And at the end, you're like, yep, we're going to freaking Minnesota,
Yep.
and we're killing this guy, and he's going with me, and I'm totally cool with it. And
Yep.
it was that part was just there's nothing to say. He was the best supporting actor all season. I said in our nomination review, I'd love to have seen Doug Jones get nominated, but if we can't get freaking
Andy Serkis,
nominated, then you're not going to get that.
And his acceptance speech was awesome, where he talked about that his dad, he was 8 years old, and his dad came to school and said,
that's right.
it's grandma, we got to go. And he gets in the car and he's like, what's up with grandma? And he said, nothing, we're going to the movies. I'm like, that's awesome.
That's some good parenting right there. We took our kids out of school all the time to go do stuff.
Yeah.
Like during the middle of the school year, and the teacher's like, they're going to miss so much school time. I'm like, they're learning more about being a person and history and an adult in this 5 days we're taking them out of school than everything you're going to teach them in an entire semester. So that was there was a couple of really good speeches. Gary Oldman's was really cool too, because he was pretty much talking about his mom the whole time.
Yeah.
And at the end, he said that she was 99 years old and that she was older than the Oscars.
Yeah.
And at the end, he says, "Mom, put the kettle on.
Yep.
I'm bringing Oscar home." And it's just like, oh, I'm gonna cry. It's great. Best director, Guillermo del Toro for Shape of Water.
Yes.
So if you believe in yourself and you want to tell stories of love or whatever and do it in a fantasy setting, here's your example of how it works.
Yeah.
And
I think that, so some people today talked about, how did this movie win?
Well,
in
go
the
see it.
in the current,
Time's up.
well, no, like the Andy Serkis, the Planet of the Apes movie
Right.
didn't even get nominated. The Logan, only got like a screenplay or whatever.
Got the screenplay,
How did
yeah.
this movie, and because it's an ode to old school movies,
It's
that's, I think,
very much. It is very much an old school version of Beauty and the Beast.
yeah.
And so
I think that resonated with
Yeah.
the older
yeah.
voters.
And it wasn't CGI'd. It was all practical.
Yeah.
It was all it was also a period piece, so that kind of helps it too.
Yeah.
And Guillermo's also built up a rep. This is his 4th nomination, his first win. So it was a good build up. He's been building up to this, right? And he has huge respect in the movie industry. Although he wants to spend $250 million to make Hellboy 3, which is why we're getting Hellboy with David Harbour.
He might, get that
Maybe.
next time he asks.
Maybe. But it's so happy. I'm so happy for him. He's such a cool guy.
Yeah.
I've seen a bunch of interviews with him. He went and spent a whole day at Collider and did interviews with them. He doesn't have to go to hang out with Collider.
He's just a big sweetheart.
and
nerdy.
He's a big freaking. He's a huge nerd.
Yeah.
So we're talking about some of the music stuff. The original song went to "Remember Me" from Coco. The performance they showed on stage was not great. I'm sure it's great in the movie.
I didn't think any of the music performances were that great.
The only one that I thought was okay was "This Is Me" from Greatest Showman, which is what a lot of people thought was going to win. But I didn't like any of the performance. Mary J. Blige, who
Yeah.
normally nails it, and she actually sang her stuff.
I don't think any of
I
them
don't think
were.
any of the performances were
the chick that did
overwhelmingly good.
Greatest Showman, whatever the song was,
Yeah.
um, definitely not a in front of a live audience type singer.
Yeah.
It really struggled.
Yeah,
It seemed like she wasn't on key a lot of times. I know the guy that did the Coco wasn't actually a singer. I'm not sure how that all worked, but I
Yeah.
heard somebody say he's not a singer, and I was like, well, then why was he singing the song? And then Mary J. Blige, just I don't know what was going on with her. She's a singer. She gets out on stage and
It might have been the acoustics with that ceiling,
maybe
that crystal ceiling.
Yeah.
Might have been made the sound go a little weird or whatever. But it just, in the grand scheme of things, every musical performance they did is when I got up to go get another drink or go to the bathroom or whatever. Some years I'm really into it. When they did Blame Canada. And Robin Williams came out and did it was awesome. Not because of that song, but just because I knew that was going to be a cool, epic thing or whatever.
Yeah.
Or it's hard out here for Pimp from Hustle and Flow, with 3-6 Mafia came out and they performed.
Yeah.
I wanted to watch that because I wanted to watch 3-6 Mafia performing at the Oscars.
Yeah, and there's Trent Reznor has done some stuff.
Yeah.
It just.
Yeah,
I
just
mean, they
not the
did
year.
it live, and maybe that was I don't know.
Maybe. The original score went to The Shape of Water. Alexander Desplat won. The soundtrack is really good. It's really good.
Yeah.
The score is really good.
Yeah.
I feel, again, voting with my heart, that this is an upset. It should have gone to Hans Zimmer or John Williams. Now, Hans Zimmer and John Williams are always nominated, and it's the same argument we have about Meryl Streep, but The Last Jedi score is amazing. And the Hans Zimmer score for Dunkirk is so subtly good.
Yeah.
And you don't know it until you go back and you've seen it a couple of times. That you just it's so good.
Yeah, and it the score, because there's no talking in the movie, the score is what leads you emotionally through it, right? You understand I need to be tense, and now it's okay, and
it's the dialogue it's the dialogue for the movie. And I will get in an argument with you about how good Dunkirk is. It was my favorite movie. It was our favorite movies this year. I will sit down and have a long intellectual conversation with you about how amazing this movie is. Part of that is because of the music and the sound design and all that kind of stuff. And we'll get into that in a minute. The cinematography went to Roger Deakins. Finally, this was the catch-up year, I guess. For Blade Runner 2049. This is his 14th nomination and his very first win. And in his speech, his hands were shaking.
Yeah.
So you can't tell me that this doesn't fucking mean something to these people.
Yeah.
Right? And he was so humble and really short. He was just like, I won and I don't know what to say. And it was just cool. It was
because after 14 times, you're like, I'll jot a couple notes. I'm not gonna win.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter, And then you get up there and you're like,
just stop fucking teasing me.
Yeah.
Put the tip in for fuck's sake. We'll get into the Oscar thing, what people were doing with the Oscars in a minute. And then visual effects went to 2049 also. I'm not voting with my heart. War for the Planet of the Apes should have won this for visual effects.
Yeah.
2049 was my second favorite movie from last year. Apes should have won. This is the third in the trilogy. This was its only nomination.
Yeah.
Those fucking monkeys are real. And you're telling me that the visual effects weren't good enough to be an Oscar winner this year? I love 2049, and the visual effects are amazing. The fucking monkeys are real.
And I'm almost like maybe they should have another category, but I don't even know what that would be. Like, a couple people talked about today that the ratings were down, and that the categories as they are designed to not include movies that most people go see. And so
one comic book movie got nominated.
for something dumb, nobody's gonna
Right.
even watch it for
And
that.
there was a huge deal that they got nominated.
Right.
And Star Wars got nominated for technical stuff and the soundtrack. Right.
Yeah. So they need more, because what the Oscars needs is to be longer, but they need some more categories that incorporate, best comedy or best horror or, just
Right.
something that kind of brings it into
So they were saying
today.
They were saying that the original Oscars, there was 2 Best Pictures
Yeah,
that year.
yeah.
There was like the arts one and then like the popular one.
Yeah.
And I would be okay if they went to something along like a not for lack of terms, a artsy one and a blockbuster one.
Yeah.
And there could be some that transition between the two, like Get Out.
Yeah.
Because it did so well, it kind of became a blockbuster. That would give movies like Star Wars or Planet of the Apes or something like that another avenue. Instead of having 9 nominees, now you have 15 nominees, or
5 in each category
5
or something.
Yeah, or you do 8 in each category,
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah.
That way you can get Logan gets represented in Wonder Woman. You're talking about all this diversity. Well, fucking nerds like us who are into Doctor Who and comic book movies and sci-fi aren't really getting represented outside of 2049 this year.
Right.
And,
Right.
we saw a bunch of the other movies, and we
Yeah.
liked a bunch of the other movies. I could argue that Shape of Water is a sci-fi movie.
Yeah. Sure.
So maybe I should just shut up.
Yeah, but it's an artsy sci-fi movie.
It is an artsy sci-fi movie.
very
It's also
artsy.
a monster movie.
Yeah.
Original screenplay went to Get Out for Jordan Peele.
Yay.
He was he was sitting right on the aisle, on the one side on what would be stage right. And they call his name, and he just like pops up out of his chair like a freaking Jack in the Box, like, boom! And he stood there for a minute, and he turned around, and he hugged his wife, and then he kind of did the walk up the stairs.
You said me, right?
Yeah.
Right? Me?
Me,
Right?
right?
Okay.
Right?
All right.
And he gave a really cool speech about starting and stopping the writing process for this movie like 20 times.
And he thanked people who go to movies.
And tell their friends to go see this movie and stuff like that. I thought that was really cool. And the most important thing was of all of that was he said, thank you, Academy, whatever, and good night. And he went to go walk off stage, and they went to go to commercial, and they showed the camera angle from backstage, and he turns around and he's wiping his eyes.
Yeah. And he's got his hand over his mouth.
That's
He's
everything you need to know right there. And then there's a picture of Key, when they announced Peele's win,
Yeah.
like jumping up out of his seat in the rafters, like he's in like the skybox or whatever, and his feet are like this high off the ground, like he's jumping up and down.
A couple of people were saying they wanted to see Key pop out from behind the stage and
He the guy to
do a little bit of
explain
a
what
bit.
he's saying in the speech.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, it's Jordan's moment, but
Yeah.
yes,
Would've
like
been
maybe
funny.
at the presser afterwards,
Yeah.
he needs to come in and be like just lean on him and stuff. Adapted screenplay went to Call Me by Your Name for James Ivory. Now, the only reason I put this in there, we talked about we haven't seen Call Me by Your Name. The reason I put it in there is because they had this big long video homage about inclusion and bringing
Right.
everybody together and
Right.
and being diverse and both having women and people of color and different races and nationalities coming to the Oscars and stuff. And then the very first award after that, they gave it to an old white guy.
But it's a movie about a gay.
I know.
Okay.
I get, and he was very humble in his story, and he talked about it and everything. And I have no problem with him winning. The visual of it was kind of just funny,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
he could be openly gay. I don't know James Ivory from these two up here. But it was just a funny visualness
Yeah.
of,
Yeah.
of the two. And then the last things that we're going to talk about, at least awards-wise, film editing, sound editing, and sound mixing all went to Dunkirk. And I have no issue with any of that.
Yeah, I mean, sound editing or mixing, I think should have been Baby Driver. I'm not sure which one specifically. I'm not.
Sound editing, I think, is the one we were really like the timing of the shots
Yeah,
and the music.
yeah.
I think that was sound
and
editing.
that was a big deal. I
Yeah.
mean, to go through and figure out, you have music in your mind, right, that
Yeah.
you want to be in these scenes, and then to write the scenes so that they mashed up with
Yeah, yeah.
I thought that was a big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. Dunkirk, like we said, the music is the
music and the sound and
is the movie.
everything, the
plane
planes creaking
yeah.
and the boat
Water and, yeah.
slapping into the pier and all of that stuff and the gunfire and stuff. I'm not upset. I just Baby Driver got nominated. Let's be honest. Baby Driver had no right in the past being even nominated for this kind of movie.
Yeah.
For this
Yeah.
kind of stuff. But
Edgar
Wright even
Edgar
said
Wright needs something.
Edgar Wright needs
He needs some love.
Yeah. So you have any other notes other than
The jet ski giveaway.
the jet ski? All right, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to bring it up because it was funny.
It was a good running joke.
And the guy at the end actually apparently got it.
Costume director
Yeah.
from Phantom Thread, I think is
Yeah,
the
I
one.
think that was-
He had the shortest one.
And they did pretty good about not. They really didn't play anybody off. They started to play that one guy, and then he said, "I wanted to bring up my dad who's dead," and they were stop the band immediately. That was awesome.
The one guy that they actually played off was the very last. Guillermo talked.
Yeah.
They had another guy come up and talk, and then the third guy, the third producer, came up, and they had turned the mic off, and the music was playing, and Jimmy
Yeah.
Kimmel was walking out, and Jimmy's like, "What did you want to say?"
Yeah.
Like, and so
And let him
let him do it. And,
Get a few words in.
anything else?
Well, so how do you say their name? Kumnal
Nujani
Nujani,
and
which is
Lupita
Big
Nyong'o?
Sick, and Lupita Nyong'o.
Lupita Nyong'o.
Nyong'o.
Simple names, people.
Well, their dreamer.
Oh, the dreamer speech, yeah,
was
yeah.
pretty awesome, and
not like
it wasn't
it was
political.
it was look, we can do it. Why not we let some other people do it too? It was kind of how I took that speech.
Right, and then Kamal's quote, which everybody was saying was pretty much the best quote of the night from the speeches, was some of my favorite movies are by straight white dudes about straight white dudes. Now you can watch my movies and relate to me. It's not that hard. I've been doing it my whole life.
It's a great line. It's so good. Well, he's a comic too. He's a stand-up comic. So
Is he?
Yeah,
Oh well,
yeah.
yeah. That's what he is. And Get the Big Sick,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah.
yeah.
don't get the Big Sick. Watch the Big Sick.
Yeah, don't get the Big Sick. Watch it. Yeah. The only other thing I had was Lin-Manuel Miranda doing his presentation, and all I could hear was Hamilton.
Yeah.
That's all I could hear.
There was the lady who the foreign film, the movie that won for best foreign film.
Oh,
she's
a
transgender, and she presented, and I thought that was kind of cool. She's very pretty.
Yeah. I didn't know.
I didn't know until I watched something on YouTube this afternoon.
Yeah. I was like, oh, wow.
And then the Sally Fields, Jennifer Lawrence, back and forth they did when Sally Fields, or not Sally Fields,
Jodie Foster.
Jodie Foster. Sally
Oh,
Fields.
and
and Jennifer Lawrence, which she's coming out in the crutches. She's like,
Yeah.
"What happened?" She's like, "Meryl Streep did a
Yeah.
hearting on me or whatever," and the whole exchange.
That was funny.
And Jennifer Lawrence obviously is in heels, but Jennifer Lawrence is tall. She's like 5'9" or 5'10" or something like that.
Yeah,
and she
and
was
Jodie
obviously, and
Foster's
Jodie
short.
Foster's not. And so we were like, Mutt and Jeff here on the stage or whatever.
Yeah.
And Jodie Foster, she's like, Jodie Foster doesn't care. She's at boob level.
Yeah, like she's looking at J-Law's boob. She's happy.
The Oscar award itself was very interesting. Like, I hadn't really noticed it until somebody said it this morning, and that was some people were like gripping it. They're like, I'm never letting this go.
Yeah.
And then a couple people were like, I need to sit down because I need to do something.
Yeah.
Several people did that.
Set it down on the ground.
Set it down on the ground and read their speech or did or whatever.
Yeah.
And Frances McDormand made a point of holding it, and then setting it down and like, now I'm going to make a statement.
Yeah. And she said, I got things to say.
Right. And it was just kind of a cool trend that it means so much to some people, but they also understand the need to, I need a third hand here, and and I'm not going to do,
Yeah.
But we were talking about it. They now take it. They used to take it backstage and engrave your name on it, and then you had it.
No, they used to take it away. They only had like one or two.
Oh, that's right.
And they would just pass them back and forth, and then several weeks later, you got your Oscar in the mail.
So now the one you get on stage is yours. That is your Oscar.
Yep.
They have the whole rack in the back, and you get an Oscar. And then you go to the governor's ball, and they engrave your thing.
it.
So I was like, I'm sending her memes of Gollum going, "My precious." I would not let that thing go.
And Frances McDormand got her stolen.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. And the guy, at the governor's ball, he stole it, and then he was an idiot and filmed himself, and then they caught him because he filmed himself. Oh, yeah. Way to secure that place. Apparently, he had a ticket.
Right,
but
right.
I don't know.
I haven't heard. That's the only thing I've heard of the after parties. And now I was busy today at work, and so I wasn't able to go like read up on the after parties and whatever.
Yeah, I didn't.
And I always, we were talking about it during the red carpet. I'm like, yeah, I would get dressed up and sit in the bleachers at the red carpet and watch everybody walk in.
Yeah, that'd be
but
fun.
I would really like to go to some of the after parties.
Yeah.
The Vanity
apparently you
Fair
can buy
or
a
whatever,
ticket.
Governor's Ball or whatever.
You don't
that
have
would
to be
kinda,
invited.
I know a lot of the Los Angeles celebrities who aren't at the Oscars go and watch the last half of the Oscars at whatever party. One of the other things that kind of was cool last night was Collider Video did a pregame, a postgame, and then some stuff like during commercial breaks and stuff like that of live streaming, where they're talking about it as it was going on. It's kind of cool since we're kind of sucked into the Collider family, the Collider group or whatever. We watch a lot of the Collider stuff, and so it was kind of cool to watch their reaction to it. IMDb though, freaking had it on lock.
Yeah,
they live streamed them all watching it in a ballroom. So they had a big party, a bunch of tables, everybody's having drinks. They had people on stage. They had different actors coming in talking about Oscar experiences and after parties and stuff like that. And I was trying to watch that during the commercials of the Oscars, but then I'm also trying to live tweet and Stardust and everything else. So I wasn't able to do a lot of that. But they were supposed to have Kevin Smith as being one of their contributors, and he actually did FaceTime, I think it was, with them. But that was kind of like that's cool to me. I think that's cool that IMDb would do that, or Collider, Screen Junkies, that kind of doing the live stream. My phone number, you can email us at popcultureculttalks@gmail.com. We're in. We'll be in.
We'll be in.
And
one other thing that I wanted to, Rita Moreno, right, from West Side Story, that came out and looked amazing. A couple people said, I don't know what
90 years old?
No, I don't think she's that old. She was in her early 20s in the late 60s.
Okay.
So, but a couple people were like, I don't know what all these older women are drinking or whatever, but they all look amazing. The dress that she had on, now she redid the top, but it's the exact same dress she wore when she was, I don't know if she won, but she was nominated for West Side Story back in '69.
Right.
It's the exact same dress.
That's awesome. And she was amazing. She was just like, I'm so happy to be here. And she was really cool. Taja P. Hansen, we talked about her dress when she was introducing Mary J. Blige. Like that was all over the internet. Yeah. Like her outfit was all over the internet. It very very sensual, very cool, but also very flattering and stuff. And the other one that I kept, Laura Dern. Laura Dern, Laura Dern. I can't not do it now. Laura Dern and Greta Gerwig came out together. It's mom and daughter. I swear they're freaking related. But I think overall, I really enjoyed the Oscars this year. Some people complain that it went long. It's the Oscars. They always go long.
Yeah.
Some people complained about how political it was. It's the Oscars. They're going to be political, especially in times that we have today. But overall, I was really entertained. I had a good time. I laughed at
Jimmy Kimmel did a really good job.
I like Jimmy Kimmel. He's a good transition from the old guard to the new guard. It's kind of been our theme as we've been talking about this. And he may not do it next year, but he's in that wheelhouse of doing it in years to come.
Yeah.
And I just a guy who went from radio station here in Phoenix to the Man Show to late night with Jimmy Kimmel to hosting the Oscars. Good on you, kid.
Yep.
Good on you. Anything else for the Oscars this year?
No, I think that's
I have a leader in the clubhouse for next year's Oscars.
Chadwick Boseman.
Everything Black Panther. They even made a point of calling them out, like saying that they were all there. And
that was the other Disney.
The Disney
call out was all the Black Panther stuff.
It was it was awesome. So that was our thoughts on this year's Oscars, the 2018 edition. What did you guys think? Leave us a comment and tell us who you thought maybe got screwed over, Logan, or whoever. Were you happy with all the winners and everything? Please like this video while you're here and subscribe to the button up here somewhere. It's over here or there or whatever. There's a little bell right there next to it too. Hit the bell so you get notifications as soon as we upload new videos, which will be here in a few minutes. Yep. And follow us on Facebook at the Pop Culture Cult. We're Pop Culture Cult 1 on Instagram, and we're at Pop_Cult1 on Twitter. Stardust, download it for free. Follow us first. Talked about that already. Anything else?
Nope.
Good night now. Happy Oscars.